Hey guys. If you are just listening to this, trust me when I say your audio is not messing up. You have no idea what is going on. But if you are watching, oh, you got it. You got it. Oh, how could I forget? Let me take a sip. Whew, whew, whew. We're gonna talk about it at the end, okay? Cue the intro. Welcome to A Change of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Angel Walston. And in this space, we navigate life together. We ask the hard questions like, what is the truth you haven't told? But most importantly, we grow together. And sometimes that leads to a change of heart. Hey everyone, welcome back to the final episode of A Change of Heart podcast season 2. I hope that you all have enjoyed this season. I've had a lot of fun this season. We've had guests, we've had all kinds of different topics that we have covered. And listen, I say we're going to talk about it at the end, but absolutely not. We're going to talk about this and address this right now. We got merch, okay? We have merch. I have been working so hard to design these shirts and these mugs for you all, and I am so excited to finally be able to share it. It is here, and because you are listening to this episode, because you have listened to the podcast, you are the first person to get first dibs when it goes live on Monday, and I am so excited to finally be able to share it. As you all know, throughout season 2, I have been pushing, I think that's an understatement, this whole idea of be whole, be healed, and be authentic. And I wanted you all to have something that you can look at it and be like, that's for me. Be whole, be healed, be authentic. And I want, when you wear this shirt, I want you to feel confident. I want you to feel like even if you are in the process of your wholeness journey, your healing journey, your authenticity journey, that as you are wearing this, as you are sipping your mug that says whole, healed, and authentic, I want you to really feel like I may not be where I want to be, but I am still becoming that woman. And this will be your reminder of who you are, not just who you are becoming, but who you are, and knowing that there is grace for that. So I am so excited that it is finally here. I can finally share it with you all. There's a link in the description box that you can click on to get all the information for when it goes live. You will get an email, you will be notified, and you will have first dibs because you listen to the podcast, okay? So I'm super excited about it. I hope that you all are excited about it as well. And listen, your girl is doing her best to be all inclusive when it comes to the mugs, okay? So as you see, it's my homegirl Keisha here. And there are 2 other women who are different skin tones. Let me throw this one out here for free. We're not in the Fenty beauty budget where we can give 40 shades of coffee mugs. However, there is some diversity with the mugs. Obviously, I'm a black girl, and so I have the black girl, but there are 2 other shades, and that will be live on Monday, okay? So I hope that y'all are excited about it, and yay, I cannot wait for you all to get your shirts. Tag me when you get your little coffee mug and you sipping your tea or your coffee, whichever one. I'm super excited about it. All right, so as we are wrapping up season 2, as you all know, or hopefully as you know from listening to season 1, I do a survey at the end of every season, and that just helps me to be able to get insight on what you all loved about this season, what I can improve on, some things that you think could make the podcast better. I'm 100% open to feedback, so please, the survey is anonymous. I want your honest feedback because it helps me to better serve you, and it also helps me to get a better idea of different things that I can do to make the podcast better for my listeners. So please take a moment to fill out the survey. It also gives you an opportunity to leave topics that you would like to hear discussed next season, and it also gives you the opportunity to let me know what guests that you like, some guests that you may want to see back, because we're gonna have guests for season 3. Okay, we had 4 this season. We're gonna have possibly 8, okay? So I have some ideas for things, but I also would love, love, love your feedback. And last, but certainly not least, I love y'all. I mean it. Leave your girl a review. If you listen to the podcast, if you enjoy it, if you share it with your friends, if it has helped you in any way, if you love listening to it and you listen every Thursday, please do me a favor and leave a review. It's great when you do the stars. It's really great when you actually leave a written review. So if you could please do that, it would do my heart so much joy. It also positions the podcast to be able to be like discoverable by more people. So if you could just take a moment to leave some words on whatever podcast platform you listen on, that would truly just do my heart so well, okay? All right, so today we are getting into listeners' questions. So these are questions that you all submitted, and I figure because I'm answering questions today, we're not gonna do a question of the day. This is just kind of like a wrap-up episode of season 2. Is that okay? Y'all good with that? All right, so let's go ahead and jump into these questions. So the first question was how to create a substantial self-care routine. And this is a great question. And I'm going to say full disclosure, full transparency, I am probably not the best person to answer this because self-care is an area that I am definitely wanting to improve on. But I will share this tidbit that has helped me to rethink how I do and think about self-care. So I was able to attend like a live Zoom a couple of months ago, and the question that the girl posed was, do you love yourself in your love language? And I was like, ooh, run it back one more time. Do you love yourself in your love language? And I bring that up because in thinking about how to create a good self-care routine for yourself, think about what is your love language and then create your self-care routine around what your love language is, because that's ultimately what's going to fuel you. That's what's going to make you feel filled. Those are the things that are going to help to fuel you. Those are the things that are also going to fill your love tank. And I think a lot of times we just associate the love languages with a romantic partner, but you should love yourself as well, and you should practice your love language to yourself. And so I think that that is something I would say for myself, at least, that is helping me to be more intentional about my self-care routine, is really practicing doing things that really fuel my love tank and that falls under the category of my love language, in doing that in a self-care way. I think another thing is when you're thinking about self-care, there's so many layers to it, and you're not going to be able to hit every single component at every time or at every week, every day, every month, whatever it might be. But I think it's important for you to be able to identify, okay, where, in what capacity am I lacking? In what area of my life am I feeling empty right now? And also focus in on really using that time for self-care. So whether it's your mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health, there's different layers to how you respond to those things. So just really being in tune with yourself to know what do I need right now? What is the most important thing? And how can I position myself to be able to really speak to those areas? I hope that helps. Another question is, how's dating going? So it was prefaced with, in season 1, I did an episode, I believe it's called Dating What's That? And so I talked about how I was open to dating, I was shooting a shot, all of that. Child, dating ain't going nowhere, okay? Listen, when I tell you from that episode, there has been no progress made, none whatsoever. And it's been on me, if I'm being like fully honest. All right, let's go ahead and have some girl talk, right? So last year when I did that episode, I had somebody that I was interested in, I ain't gonna lie about it. But we went out, nothing came of it. No problems there. Good guy, literally have nothing bad to say about the guy. And so from that point, I haven't met anyone else that I was interested in, to be honest. And so I've just been kind of focused on other things now. And so I'm back in a place, if I'm being fully honest, where dating is not a priority, is not something I'm really open to right now. I'm not pressed about being in a relationship. And to be fair, I wasn't pressed about being in a relationship last year either. But it was something that was like, okay, I'm open to this. We're going to go on dates, even considered maybe doing like an online dating app. And child, I got a lot going on, and dating, a relationship, that is not like in my top 5 priority right now. So priorities right now. So how dating is going is not. Okay. And I mean this in the least shadiest way possible, with all due respect. The guys that are in my DMs, I'm not interested in them, and they also come across a little too strong. So just a little tidbit, just an FYI. I don't think that many guys listen to, or guys in general listen to my podcast, but just an FYI, y'all be coming off real strong in the DMs. And I'm gonna need you to like pull it back. I don't know you, especially if I don't know you. Don't ask, can you take me out? Like that being your first message. I don't know you. I'm not going anywhere with you. To answer your question, dating ain't going, girl. It ain't going nowhere. What is something that you are the most proud of? So I would 100% say in this moment, the thing that I'm the most proud of is that I said in the beginning of this year that I was committed to investing in myself. And honey, your girl been investing in herself. I feel like I've been the most open in the sense of really stepping outside of my mindset. And that has been a huge game changer for me, because there were a lot of things that I felt like, oh, I can't do this. This doesn't make sense. And it's like, let's just try it. Let's just do it. Don't think about it. Let's just do it. We jump in head first into the deep end. And so that is definitely something that I am the most proud of, is because I feel like this year specifically is literally the year that everything changed. It's literally going to be the year that literally will change my life for the better. And it has come from me being very intentional about investing in myself, very intentional about doing the work, very intentional about believing in myself and stepping out on faith and really trusting God with what He's put on the inside of me. And I'm genuinely excited about my future. I'm really excited about the things that are going to come. So yes, great question. If you could have any guest on the podcast, who would you pick? This is such a great question. I love this one so much. Oh, who would I pick? So I've been thinking about this. One for sure would be Signed Blake on Instagram. I don't even know what her last name is, but I love her. She's literally like the best person I've ever followed. She is a petite Black woman, and I actually found out about her page from, I want to say it was Vicky Logan, if I'm not mistaken. She had posted a repost of Blake's that talked about understanding the privilege of being a thin woman, yet also wrestling with the struggle of being a thin Black woman and all of the nuances that come with that, and feeling like you have this struggle that is very much so something that you connect with, but also feeling like you can't openly talk about it, or feeling almost guilty in a sense for talking about it, because you recognize that I feel like when you talk about the struggles of being a thin woman, there are people just like, girl, shut up. Like nobody cares. And she definitely said it in a way more elegant way than I did. And it just resonated with me so much, because it's like, oh my God, I feel seen, I feel known, I feel heard, I feel loved, like all the things. And I've been following her ever since then. And she just has such like a dope personality. She goes on trips by herself. She's very much so like this living her best single independent life. And I just love everything about her. I think we'd have like really good conversations. And then the other person, I had somebody else down, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, of course, Tabitha Brown. Hands down, I want Tabitha Brown, okay? So when I get my money right, when I'm at a place where I'm able to have a budget for guests and I can pay guests to come on my show, honey, Tabitha Brown, when I hope that I can still afford her when I get that guest budget. But oh my gosh, that would be like a dream to have Tabitha Brown as a guest on my podcast. And we would just like kiki, and it would be the best thing ever. Like, y'all see how excited I am about this? I just feel like it would be so amazing. So Tabitha Brown, Signed Blake. All right. How do you overcome everyday struggles with worldly things, and how do you get out of a spiritual rut? Great question. So I would say, how do you overcome everyday struggles with spiritual things? With worldly things. Let's start with that first. So I think it's really important for you to be able to have accountability for one, and also to be willing to have someone that you can talk to. And I recognize that that's not always an option for everyone. That can be something that's really, really a struggle. But I also think about the scripture, and I'm pretty confident it's Romans 12:2. If I'm wrong, I'll put the correct caption in like at the bottom of the screen here, but the correct scripture, not correct caption. But where it talks about do not be conformed to the things of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And in thinking about this idea of the renewing of your mind, if you want to be able to not be as easily distracted or persuaded by the things of this world, it's really important to renew your mind, because while you're here on this earth, there are going to be so many different things that are trying to pull your attention. There are going to be so many different things that can set you up for temptation. There are going to be so many different things that will try to pull yourself away from God. And I will speak for myself: when I'm not spending time with God, when I'm not in a solid place spiritually, those distractions, those temptations are heightened for sure. Like, it's very much so a thing that when I'm really like solid in my walk with God, there are things that I won't even entertain. There are conversations I won't entertain. There are temptations I won't even entertain. When I am in a place where I ain't prayed up, when I ain't been fasting, when I'm not in my word, when I'm not spending time with God, I see a lot of things that I am more likely to entertain that I would not otherwise. So I think it's very important for us to be able to spend time with God, to make sure that we are solid spiritually, because that helps to combat it. Because the truth of the matter is, there's always going to be a temptation. There's always going to be a struggle while we're here on this earth between our flesh and our spiritual man. And it's really important for us to be able to make sure that our spiritual man is solid. Our spiritual man is the one that's fed, so that we're able to fight that temptation. Now, going to the second part, how do you get out of a spiritual rut? So funny. I was actually just talking to someone about this, and I think in order for you to get out of a spiritual rut, it's important for you to be able to almost like go back to the basics, to go back to, when did you first fall in love with God? When did you first like really get excited about being in your word, or really just having a relationship with God? Because the longer you are doing something, the easier it is to get into a spiritual rut. And I was having a conversation with someone about how I have been in a space where I felt like I was just going through the motions of my relationship with God versus actually like being intentional. It's like, all right, we're doing this to get it done. And that in itself isn't what God is asking from us either. He wants it to be a relationship that we enjoy, that we want to be a part of, that we look forward to communicating with Him, to communing with Him even. And I think about it as any relationship that you have. When you have ruts in your friendships, you have ruts in your romantic relationships, it's important for you to be able to acknowledge it, and then also to do things differently, to be able to position yourself to get into a space, not even necessarily to what it was before, but to get into a space where that love is renewed, to get into a space where your mind is renewed. And it comes with spending time. It comes with intentionality. It comes with, in the moments when you don't feel like doing it anyways, but doing it from a place of wanting to and getting to, not just a place of, all right, let me check this off of my spiritual to-do list. And so I think another thing that really helps is having good community. And I recognize for a lot of people that has been very challenging because of COVID. A lot of things are still not in person. And for some people, through everything with COVID, maybe you had to find a different church. And as a result of that, you're still in this space of trying to find community. And I 100% get that. I know that that can be a struggle, but I feel like the closer, let me actually rephrase that. This is not meant to throw shade by any means. I think it's important to have community. It's more important to have solid community, because there are people who you can meet at church. And I'm not trying to make this a negative thing, but there are people who you can meet at church that also don't really draw you closer to God, and y'all can have great conversations about things, and yet you can still be spiritually dying. So I think it's important to have solid community who you can have Bible studies with, that you can pray with, that you can have conversations with that are really spiritually building to your faith and that really draw you back to God and make you excited about your relationship with Him. So, how do you get out of your head? How do you get out of your own way? This is not an easy thing to do. There was a part of me that wanted to say, you just have to do it. And as simple as that sounds, it is not easy because I am 100% someone who be all up in my head. I'm always all up in my own way. But this year specifically, I have just made up in my mind that, all right, we're going to do it. And so I would say how to get out of your head. And I'm reluctant to say this because I don't want this to sound impulsive. If you are an impulsive person, do not follow this advice. But if you are someone who tends to be in your head, obviously like seek wise counsel, pray about it, make sure that you have peace. But there are some things that you just have to do. And a lot of times we spend more time talking ourselves out of something or trying to talk ourselves into something that we don't even recognize. Like, baby girl, you ain't even doing anything. You just keep talking about, oh, I should do this, I should do that. You're not doing anything though. And so something that I decided to do this year, which like I said, if you are an impulsive person, I would not suggest following this. But if it was something that I wanted to do, I did it. Is like, all right, I want to do this. I'm going to sign up for it. I want to do this. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And I could not think twice about it because I know that the more time I spend thinking about it, the longer time I spend thinking about it, the easier it's going to be for me to talk myself out of it. Have there been things that I have signed up for that I have done that literally the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What did I do? I ruined everything. Absolutely. However, as I went through with it, it's paying itself off. It's working out. It's actually been a very good investment. And so I share that to say, if you want to get out of your head, it really is taking steps to go against what you're used to, which is overanalyzing everything, overthinking everything. You have to commit to just doing something. And it can be something small. You don't have to go and do anything like extravagant or anything big by any means. But a part of getting out of your head is committing to just doing it. And I know that sounds so simplistic. It's not easy. It's something I'm still wrestling with. I still have like anxiety about that, but it's something that you have to make a choice to do. So I feel like I hope that helps, but I realize that sounds so simplistic and it's like, it's not that easy. Trust me when I say I get it, but it's literally making those steps that helps you to get out of your head. All right, next question. Who are your favorite people to follow on social media? So, signed Blake, love her. She has a dog, Bash, who they have funny stories in her stories on Instagram. And she just overall has great content. I really love following, I believe it's Color du Jour for makeup. She's amazing. A new person that I've been following over the last couple of months, I don't even know how I came across her, but it's literally the best follow I have ever made, Tanika B. Oh my goodness. When I tell you, if you are a woman of color and you are looking to colorify, yes, I said colorify, your wardrobe, you need to follow Tanika B. When I tell you she's like the queen of color, she has an amazing wardrobe and it is filled with color. Like, it's so gorgeous. I want her to be my personal shopper. She is so dope. Like, I love following her. It's literally the best follow I've made in 2021. Who else do I follow? I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Okay, so this one, let me give a disclaimer. This person, also one of my best follows from 2020. Let me give this disclaimer. He is not like my page in any form or fashion. So follow at your own risk, okay? There is going to be some language on his page. I'm giving that disclaimer. With that being said, I really enjoy following Patrick Cloud. Let me explain. So he has these videos that he just posts like the most random of random facts. Like, he finds these random animals, like random food, just very random things. And he just like posts videos, like little short IGTVs talking about these things. And it's so fascinating to me. Like, and it's funny. He's actually like really funny. So yes, that for sure is one of my best follows from 2020 because I have learned so many things, and I've also laughed at very stupid things all at the same time. But follow at your own risk. I've given the disclaimer. Who else do I enjoy following? I'm pretty sure it's Christy.Sarah. I could be wrong about that. I know the first name is Christy, but her and her husband, oh my gosh. I seriously think they have the best reels. Like, they have such funny videos. They have two cute little boys. It is like, I'm pretty sure it's Christy and Desmond, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody who I talk about, I'll put like their little, like a picture or something so y'all know who I'm talking about. But I love following them. I found out about them in COVID. I had some really good COVID follows, okay? But they are like the bomb. And everybody that I'm referring to is on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. I have a TikTok, but I'm not on there. I don't really be on Facebook like that. But I'm always on Instagram. So these are my Instagram people. Oh, and I really love following Tiffany Darling. I am a I'm a former Daily Davidson watcher. Mainly because they took the comments away, not them, but YouTube. And so I haven't been watching as much anymore because I enjoy reading comments as I'm watching videos. But I still love them very much. I really love their family vlogs. But I really like following Tiffany because she has funny reels as well. So yes, those are some of my favorite people to follow on IG. What advice do you have for someone who wants to start a podcast? So welcome aboard to the podcast family. I ain't even really been in the family for that long, but my best advice that I would have for starting a podcast is batch record, honey. And what I mean by batch record is pre-recording your content in advance. So I would say at the minimum, record at least a month's worth of episodes because it will come in handy. Listen, life happens, things happen, and it really does work to your benefit to have content already recorded so you don't have to worry about trying to get things done last minute, or if you have something that comes up. Great example of this, for season 1, I did episode by episode. So every week I was recording an episode on Sunday. It would go live on Thursdays. And for season 2, we're like, we about to batch record this whole thing. Okay, that did not work out. However, I started shooting season 2 a month before I actually announced season 2. So by the time it was actually live, so by the time y'all got the trailer for season 2, I had recorded 5 episodes, I believe. At least 4, but I believe it was 5 episodes. And listen, when I tell you that thing came in handy, because it was, I think it was maybe March or April, where I was just in a rut and I did not feel like recording. I did not feel like talking. I did not feel like doing anything. And I had all that content that was just available. And so towards the end of the podcast, I was going back to that schedule of recording on Sundays, posting on Thursdays. But if you can batch record, edit in advance, get it uploaded, you don't even have to worry about it, do that. The other thing I would say is do your research. Definitely take the time to research. There's a lot of information that is out. So research the different types of hosting sites. So my podcast is hosted on anchor.com. There's tons of different options. Also, just take the time to research just like analytics and things so you can kind of get an idea of what do you want your focus to be on. Another great way to kind of research analytics is ask your audience, the people who follow you on social media. If you already have a platform on YouTube or something like that, ask your audience. I recently did a survey in my stories to ask people, what are topics that you are literally tired of hearing about? You do not want to ever hear somebody talk about it again. It's like, let it go, let it die. And then what are some topics that you wish were talked about more that you don't hear enough of? Listen, those responses are episodes for season 3. And granted, some of the responses doesn't really fit what a Change of Heart podcast is about, but at the minimum, people who don't listen to my podcast, but actually actually answered the questions in my stories on Instagram, if I have a title that is literally the same title that they put in, or the same suggestion that they put in something that they really want to hear, they're likely to listen to it because like, hey, that resonates with me. So that is a great way, a great strategy to get topics. So that's something to consider. And the last thing I would suggest is don't get caught up on the logistics of things in regards to sound, quality, all of that. And I know some people be like, girl, what? Excuse you? Listen, if people like your content, they're going to listen. And I'm saying this starting out. I do think for long term, it does matter. You do want to make sure that things get better. But for starting out, just start. It doesn't matter if you don't have the best mic. It doesn't matter if you don't have the best camera to record, whatever it might be. Don't focus on the equipment. Don't allow what you lack equipment wise to be a reason to not start. Just start. People will enjoy, people will listen. There are podcasts that I have listened to that the sound quality was not great, but the quality of the topic was. And so I kept listening to the podcast because I enjoyed the host personality, or I enjoyed the topics that was discussed. It was something that resonated with me. So guess what? I listened to it. There are episodes that I have from season 1. There are episodes I have from season 2 that sound quality, it's not the best. But y'all listen to it because y'all like the topic. You like what we're talking about. You like the content. And so I share that to say, don't get caught up on what you feel like you don't have right now. Just start. As you are growing, as it gets better, you can always increase the quality of things. Don't allow that to be a reason to not start. All right. Do you have a moment that you regret or wish you could do over? So I was thinking about this, and I've said this a couple of times before. I feel like literally the best thing that happened to me in regards to me going to college was meeting my two of my best friends, and getting saved at my old church, New Life Ministries, and meeting great people through New Life Ministries. With that being said, if I could do a do-over and keep all of those components, I would not go to college. And I'm just being honest. I'm not knocking education. I always say that, but I'm not saying that no one should go to college. I'm speaking specifically for me. If I could get a do-over, I would not have gone to college. But I also got some very great things just from being in that area, for the fact that I went to college. And so for that, I don't regret it. But if I could get all of those components that I mentioned earlier without getting the degree and the student loan debt, I 100% would not have went to college. What is something that people don't know about you? I was trying to think about this. So here's the thing. I feel like I'm a very open person, and I share a lot on social media. I have 2 books that have a lot of my life story in them. And as I was thinking about what are some things that people don't know about me, I don't really know like what you all know and what you don't know, because there's a whole lot of information out there. With that being said, I also realize I'm a very private person as well. So there's also a lot of things that, people don't know. But the one thing that came to mind is what I feel like people are always really surprised to know is when they meet me in person or see for whatever reason, is that I am pretty tatted. I have a lot of tattoos. They're not in like inappropriate places, but they're also not very visible. If I'm like on the beach somewhere, you'll be able to see all of them. But yeah, I have 7 tattoos, and that seems to be very surprising to people to know. So I guess that's it. All right, so last question. What is a self-improvement area that you are working on? So I always say that as I am encouraging you all to be whole, be healed, be authentic, as I'm sharing different things throughout the episodes, I'm working on that myself. The message always hits the messenger first. So I'm not sharing from a place of I have it figured out, I have it mastered. I'm very much so going through the process as well. And so I would say in my journey of healing, an area of self-improvement that I'm working on is vulnerability. And even just like saying it, you feel, could y'all feel like the tension in that coming out my mouth? Vulnerability. Yes, so that is something that I am intentionally working on, because I am very aware of the fact that I'm not a standoffish person, but I'm also aware that I don't give like very open vibes either. And I do want to be really intentional about just really developing better relationships. And I want to be intentional about allowing people in my space more. And so, yeah, that is really the journey that I am on right now, is really just allowing myself the space to be vulnerable without judgment and without critique. And also to be vulnerable without feeling like, oh no, we need to stop that. Like, don't do that. Don't cry. Don't, you know what I mean? So, and that's something that I'm still like working through, and something that I am still really just trying to navigate what that looks like, because I have associated vulnerability not with weakness per se, but a form of weakness, and that is not true. And I recognize that as a result of that, how I view intimacy is not jaded per se, but it is, I would say it's more so like nonchalant-ish. And that's not how I want to be. And so that is something that I'm actively working on, that it's not fun. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But it's something that I want to really work on and improve upon, to not just better my relationships with other people, but to also better myself, my relationship with myself, and to position myself to be able to love people well and to be loved well. So, yeah, y'all keep me in your prayers, your thoughts, your hearts, and all of that, because it is not a fun process, yet here we are. So, all right, I think I got through all of the questions. Yes. So, you've made it to the end. I hope you all have enjoyed season 2. Listen, I genuinely love doing this podcast. When I tell you that I'm excited to wrap up season 2, because it gives me some time to start working on season 3, but I'm also sad because I really enjoy this time with you all. I really enjoy reading your comments on YouTube. I really enjoy your DMs that you send me. I enjoy the people who I'm able to have in-person conversations about the podcast. I love it so much. I love our questions of the day. Y'all be coming with it. I genuinely love the community that we are building. And yes, I'm so excited about it. And I can't wait to see y'all with y'all shirts. I can't wait to see y'all with y'all mugs. We about to be cute out here this summer, okay? I'm super duper excited just about what is all going to come for season 3. And listen, it's going to air in the fall, but we're going to start shooting it like next month. That's how excited I am to get started with it. So make sure that you fill out the survey, okay? One more time for the people in the back. Please fill out the survey, okay? Please fill out the survey, you guys. It really, really, really does help me to be able to serve you all better. And if it's something that you don't have an answer for, put NA, okay? But go through the things that you do have an answer for. Please take the time to answer it. I want to make sure that the topics that we are discussing in season 3, that is stuff that you all want to hear, that is things that can really help you. So let me know what you want us talking about in season 3, okay? I think I said at the end of season 1 that we were going to have men on season 2, and that clearly was a lie. But for real, for season 3, there are 3 men who I for sure want to have on the podcast, and I have not asked any of them, but I'm like 99.9% sure that all 3 of them will say yes to it. So with that being said, I do want you all to submit questions for men. And listen, there's a part that's on the survey that asked if you all would be interested in an Ask Angel section of the podcast that would come like at the end, where you all can submit questions anonymously and I'd answer them. But when we have guests, you can submit questions for the guest. And if it's like men, you can submit questions pertaining to men. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all think that would be cool? So let me know. Let me know in the survey, okay? But I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who have been rocking with me from season 1 to season 2. This has been a great season, guys, and I'm just genuinely excited to see you all to continue to grow and blossom. And I just know that great things are ahead, and I truly cannot wait to see how you all continue to be whole, be healed, and be authentic. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you back for season 3. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into A Change of Heart podcast. I hope you were encouraged, and please take a moment to share with a girlfriend, and don't forget to download the episode. Lastly, I would love to connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram at Angel C. Walston and at A Change of Heart Podcast. Have an amazing week, and don't forget, be whole, be healed, and be authentic.